welcome to Wild Ginger Running Live. We're here with Sabrina Verjee. Hi, Sabrina. Who has just smashed out of the water her very good already Pennine Way FKT for the ladies, 268 miles from Kirkyetom on the Scottish border to Edale in the Peak District. So, Sabs, you already had the record of 82 hours 19 minutes, smashed it down to 74 hours by 74 hours 0.5. Why challenge your record if you've got it already?
I didn't really think of it as challenging the record. I thought of it as going for a jolly good run with my friend. And it was fun, wasn't it, Claire?
Yes, it was very fun. I did less of the running and more of the driving around. So
Amazing. Thank you so much to your mum and you for amazing support and camper van fun. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was really cool. So me and my mum hired this like giant camper van, which was definitely too big for all of the roads that we were going down in, definitely in the Scotland part anyway. And so we were supporting the road crossings, which was really exciting because I haven't done that before. So I definitely need to ask you the question of just how hard is it for you to pull together all those logistics, especially like with COVID happening and everything being so uncertain?
Yeah, the logistics isn't fun, and you can't be too anal about it all. You need to just be a bit relaxed because things are going to change. But having a tracker does make everything a lot easier because that means if you're not exactly on your schedule, everyone still at least knows where you are and they can make a better guess about where you will be at what time. So that's helpful. But yeah, I think now more and more people are doing these things and writing spreadsheets. If you know someone who's done one before, like David Paul, you can sort of pinch his schedule and just bodge it and make it your own, which is exactly what I did. And I did quickly mind it, or I didn't ask him, he sent it to me, so I sort of thought it was using the views. And likewise, my Wainwright schedule I know is now gone round. But yes, you get an Excel spreadsheet, log in a load of checkpoints, put in approximate times. Now that's where it gets tricky. I had reckoned everything, exactly how long I could take, and then know, what the sort of deterioration rate might be at the time. With the Pennine Way, that's done it the other direction. But that doesn't always equate to the same thing because obviously doing the TV when you're very tired in the dark in the winter is nothing like doing it with practice. So I just kind of thought I'm a little bit slower than Damien. Let's go with, I put 10% slower than the time that he had scheduled to do it. So that's what I went with. And for most of the time I was within an hour or two of the schedule. Because then at the end it really went 2.5 hours over. But other than that, it was not a bad effort, I'd say.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. There was a time when you were an hour up on schedule and we were all like, she's an hour up, quick, get here, get there.
It's not so bad because an hour's all right and manageable, but you start getting 2 or 3 hours ahead, it does become a problem. But yeah, we let go of the hour by spending 2 hours in Greg's hut. So we went there. I think I was actually about probably 2 hours up at that point and then spent 2 hours in Greg's hut. Well, there you go, all evens out in the end. And then there were other times I managed to grab another hour back somewhere because I was feeling really good, and then I dropped an hour again, and yeah, it went up and down.
Yeah.
Up and down. All right.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about the whole tracker thing and things like that because I want to talk to you about Mike Hartley and how he came out to see you, and he was telling me about his record on 1989. But first, we've got a question from one of my patrons, Steph, who wants to know about like gearing up for the challenge. So she wants to know, how do you gear your brain up for something so challenging? Do you just imagine yourself getting the record and ride the high, or do you forget about the record altogether and just try to enjoy the run, or do you break it down into little stages and celebrate the little wins? She says, I am just in awe of the mental ability of anyone who can commit to anything above about 8 hours.
Yeah, I think this is the thing where maybe you start to wonder if I'm missing through or something up there. No, I don't gear up. I don't even really think about, I wasn't really thinking about trying to get a recognition. I was just going for a run.
Oh, Sabs. Oh, I'm really sorry. Could you perhaps get a little bit closer to the microphone? I just had a thing on the live chat saying they can't hear very well. So yeah.
Let's sort this out. I don't know.
Now look what you've done, peeps. it's that's John Gardner's fault. Are you closer? Yeah. Oh, say something. Oh, that's worse. I can't hear anything now. Can you turn it back round and then just...
Let me just see if I can turn the volume up.
Oh yeah, that's a good plan.
It is at max, so that's that. Okay, so getting closer, but being on the screen, I have to slouch.
Oh, yeah, that is a bit better. Yeah.
Sorry, this one's on my iPhone because the Mac is at home. I cycled here and I couldn't carry the big Mac.
No, that's perfect. If you are able to keep slouching, that would be brill. Thanks. Yep. That's sorry about that, Sabs. And thanks, guys, for letting us know.
The question.
The brain. The brain gearing.
So I was saying I'm probably not quite right up here because
we all know that.
I don't really think about the distance, the length, or what I'm doing, particularly that I'm just going for a jolly good run with lots of fun people. And in fact, the thing that kept me going, I did actually at one point, I wasn't having too much fun in the wind. You know, at Tan Hill, I really was like, do you know what? I could just stop here because this is really annoying me running into the wind. It's really hard and I'm not going anywhere. Or I felt I wasn't going anywhere. And then I thought, but hang on, I've got people here waiting to run with me.
Yeah.
I've got to go. And that was really it. I thought, well, I've got to go now because everyone's waiting for me, and that's that. And that was really kind of why I didn't sort of just sit at Town Hill and go no further, I think. That, and also Mike Hartley was just like, well, you say that, but you're going to go anyway, aren't you? I mean, you're just not yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I am just going.
Yeah, I know. I remember you sitting there with the chips. We got you because the order came through from the text from the Pacers, and it said she wants hot chips at Tan Hill. So we got these hot chips, which were probably cold by the time you got there. And then Mike Hartley was there. It was great. Yeah. It
was really nice to see him because actually the first time I met him was when I went to Horton to meet up with Damien. And you know, I just rocked up and he started chatting to me. He just literally came and said, oh, well done on the Wainwrights, and we were just having a jolly good chat, and I think actually ended up talking for about 20 minutes, and then afterwards I was like, oh, I didn't catch your name. And I was like, what's this, Mike? Oh, I said, no, I'm sorry, I know exactly who you are. And then he said, he's very sweet, he said, well, I didn't look like this in my day.
Yeah.
Oh, what a nice man.
Yeah.
He's such a nice guy, and he's very humble.
Yeah.
So you do know, and I was so chuffed that he came to Tan Hill to see me. It was. I don't have any contact with him. I don't know how to say thank you very much because he's not on Facebook, or I can't find him on Facebook. So if anyone knows him, thank you very much. I'm chuffed with it.
Well, I got his email address, so I will share that with you later. Yeah, but Mike Hartley, for anyone who's listening who didn't know, he did the record in 1989, and he did 2 days, 17 hours and 20 minutes, and then that was smashed by John Kelly and Damo just recently, earlier in the year. So yeah, he was telling, it was really interesting to chat with him, and like you say, he's really humble and really cool, and I was just really struck by the way that they used to do records. Apparently they would have somebody on a landline at home whilst the person did the record, and all the pacers would ring in from various phone boxes on the way to update the person with the landline as to where the person was and how they were doing. So you couldn't veer too far off your schedule, because otherwise you just wouldn't have a pacer, because they wouldn't know to get there early, and all the pacers had to arrive like probably an hour before needed, just in case Mike was early. And then they'd be waiting, and you'd have no texting, because like people were texting through, weren't they? They were like, Sabrina would like list of stuff, and then I'd go to the co-op and get it. Yeah.
I mean, they would be pretty cold.
Yeah.
Ready yet. I mean, you don't run too fast, you'd have nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think people must have just been like less kind of fussy in those days in terms of like if the paces
less demanding. I mean,
yeah, all the things you were basically, they wouldn't be like that. They would just be like, oh, here's a ton of Carol bar, like eat that, and you'd just be grateful for what you got, wouldn't you? So it was really interesting to hear that from him, and it's really interesting to see how we do it this way with the whole texting forward.
Well, it's interesting as well, because I think it's not just that, but think of the clothes that they were running in, didn't they? And shoes, didn't they all run in like Walshes? Which, I mean, I think some people still probably do, but I mean, you know, I look at La Sportiva Mutants and then look at, you know, what I run in, and look at how much shoes have changed even in the last 10 years, 15 years. And you think how luxurious it is. Ooh, everything's padded and the grip, and, you know, they're getting everything right. And then, I mean, with clothing, and what about nutrition? I mean, I bet they didn't have any gels. And what about, like, I'm not that I'm the hugest fan of gels, but I did have quite a few Mountain Fuel jellies, and I also had a lot of the recovery fuel, which I really like. I use that a lot after races and things. You know, all of those things as well. A lot has changed, and I sort of think, yeah, they did really, really well.
Yeah, they did. They didn't have the kit, they didn't have the gear. They just had the same legs, I suppose, didn't they? They had legs.
Legs.
Yeah.
They did.
So just going back a little bit to you personally and what you like doing, just share with us a little bit, if you can, about what you enjoy most about doing such long records, because you've obviously got the Wainwrights, you've done the Dragon's Back, you came second in Dragon's Back 2017, you've done the Spine in winter, you won the ladies in that in 2020, you won the summer outright the year before, you've done the Wainwrights this year, 6 days, 18 hours, first woman to do it that fast. And yeah, like, what do you like most about doing these to some people crazy things?
I just like being outdoors, and I have to say my motivation is not to get a record as such. It's fun, and you know, I love that people like to come out and carry my bag and offer me food and do all my stuff. I'm so grateful for all the people that help, because actually none of it's really possible without that help. I mean, especially something as big as the Wainwrights. I would love one day to try and do that self-supported, but you know, it's a lot of gear and a lot of so much to do, and I'm really in awe actually of people that have done that, and I think that is definitely something that needs to be done. But it is so nice to run and not have to stop. I really hate stopping. I really just like going. And one thing that was really, I did a lot during the lockdown and you couldn't drive anywhere, so I would do my runs from my house in Langdale. But it got really boring because I would have to go out to more or less the same. I went to Escores a lot, and from there I would go recce the bit I need to do, like go around Westwater or go around Endale, and then do the same 3-hour run back to home. And so every time it kind of was like, oh, I have to come home now, when actually I just want to keep going.
Yeah.
Actually doing all the Wainwrights was amazing because I could just keep going.
Yeah.
And all these people helping me to just keep going. And the same with the Pennine Way. I mean, it's just such a fantastic journey. I mean, I would even enjoy doing it by, you know, stopping each night at bed and breakfast or something, just because it's just a fun journey. But I quite like the continuous running, because actually when you stop, things start to hurt and swell, and your body starts trying to recover. So I actually quite like just going continuously. It's quite nice.
Yeah. That's interesting that when you stop, things start to hurt. So that's a good tip for everybody.
Stop. It'll hurt them.
Yeah. And do you train specifically for 268 miles, or do you just go out and have fun doing some wrecking?
Yeah, I don't do training. I'm very bad at training. I don't have a
training.
I don't have a coach. I don't think anyone can tell me what to do. I don't have the time to do stuff when I should, and you know, follow a plan that would make me the fastest runner in the whole world. You know, I just do it to just relax, and I really enjoy when I can just grab a map and just draw a route that I fancy doing, which is always far too large for my little legs. You know, and I love this expression that I pinched off John Parkin. Eyes bigger than legs.
Oh, yes.
So true. Anyway, so I do like doing that. I draw a loop that I can't possibly finish in the time I've got, and then I have to. I get halfway around and go, oh dear, I'll be back in like an hour, and then I'm always late. And then it's all just, I get this look from my husband like, you know. But I love it. That's my favourite fun thing to do.
Yeah, just getting yourself lost in the mountains for ages and ages. Yeah. And just, you say you don't train, but is there anything you wish that you'd done slightly differently prior that would have made the Pennine Way easier, or did everything just go to plan?
Oh, the best thing I probably could have done with the Pennine Way is wait like another 3 months till my body was actually ready to do it again. But that was quite fun, and actually the real challenge for me was to be like, well, can I do this again so quickly? And actually yes, you can. You don't do it very well, but you can do it. So it was, yeah, that was interesting for me. And I picked up another little bit of bursitis in my sort of glute area and hip, kind of were quite unhappy with me. But you're going to get these things running that far. So,
Yeah.
then I have to let them settle down, and I'm not very good at that. So what would I have done differently? I'm trying now to be good and do other things like cycling, complement running, and also it's a bit of cross training. And also, I do like to try and do an all-round workout, so that I'm actually working my core, my back muscles, my glutes separately, and my arms as well. I like to have some strength in my arms, because actually occasionally on these things, not so much the Pennine Way, but definitely the Wainwrights, you can end up doing a bit of scrambling and using your arms and finding that actually they start to hurt because they've not been used in a long, long time.
You're like a dinosaur with tiny arms and massive legs.
Even the poles, I hadn't done any pole practice for the Wainwrights, and I used them a fair bit, so I probably should have used them a bit, but I don't really like poles. They're cheating sticks. So, but they are effective, and everyone seems to be using them. But well, I don't think I'd get around a Wainwrights without them. I'll be honest. So yeah, that's probably what I would have done.
Yeah. Oh, that's really useful. So you can kind of learn from what you've done already, and then implement that next time round. I just want to just let you know who's watching, because we've got lots of people watching live here. So I'm just going to read out.
I shouldn't maybe drink my tea in front
No, it's fine. I have a pint. I'm drinking of water. So we've got a Seb here tonight, and he says, "Evening, everyone. Finally made it to a live one again. Yay!" Philip Haddock is here, and he says, "Well done, Sabrina." John Airy says, "I'm here till 7, and I promise I will behave." Oh, you better do, John. And Guy says hello to everybody. John Gardner says hello as well, and John Earp says hello as well. And Peter Krauhofer says hi from Vienna. I hope I got that right. And John Airy says it's good sound for an iPhone. So I think.
Oh yes, I do apologise for the iPhone.
That's okay. I'm sure everyone can hopefully hear it okay now. And Brad Rush is here. He's just realised I'm doing shout outs, so he's typed hello everyone. So that's great to see you there as well, Brad. So thanks everybody for watching live, and do type some questions in if you have any questions for Sabs. But I've got tons. So just talking about the stuff that you would have done differently, and you talked about like a little bit of bursitis in the hip. You had a knee problem on the Wainwrights that obviously impacted you, your kind of feelings on getting the record. You thought that you had some help, so you didn't want the record there. What was the hardest part of the Pennine Way? Was the knee okay, or was the pain from injury the hardest part, or was there a different type of thing that made that one hard? Running across the Cheviot, I was thinking about the sort of problem I'd had on the Wainwrights and whether that would flare up again. Actually, I say knee. Pain was in the knee. The bursa, I think, that was inflamed is in the knee area, but it was actually the adductors that got strained. So I, when I was just running off the Cheviots descending into Burness, they did start to twinge. In fact, my left one, so it was the right one, I was like, oh no, not this again. And then I didn't hear from them again. Then they settled, so it was fine. And then I got a different problem, which, as I say, was just some hip bursitis, and that was incredibly painful. And it started sort of going up Fountains Fell. So as I left Dalehead, I think it's called, and I was just like, oh no, not again. And I took loads of painkillers. Actually, we did try to elbow in my glute, and that didn't help too much, but painkillers were good. But I had a really good leg. Obviously the painkillers worked really well, and I ran great. I ran great from Fountains Fell all the way up, and then into Malham I was feeling awesome, and I was really actually pegging it. In fact, all the way to Gargrave, and that's where I managed to catch 2 hours of my time back. So I was back on schedule, and then I was actually even making time through that last afternoon, evening, and then painkillers wore off. And then I did take more, but then I got to the point where I was vomiting, and I was worried that it might be the painkillers, and I thought, oh God, I better not. So then I stopped taking them, and then I was in a world of pain. And so that last bit to Edale was a bit
a bit slow, a bit owie.
Yeah.
Still loved it because the sun was, I had beautiful sunrise, and then we decided that why would I want to arrive in, Edale at 6
Yeah.
in the dark when I could
Crazy
arrive
times.
at 8:30 in the morning in lovely daylight. So really, it worked out well.
Yeah, it did work out really well, and it was a beautiful morning, wasn't it? It was absolutely
Yeah.
lovely. And I'm just trying to scroll through to see if I can find a picture of your feet here to show everybody, because I did take quite a few photos of your feet at the end. So I'm just going to throw up a few on the screen there.
Lucky people get to see my feet.
Yeah, but this is you asleep in the chair at the end.
That's where I look like to be carted off to a care home.
Yeah, you've been out on day release. Oh, here we go. Here's a nice picture of you and your feet here. So this is Sabs's feet at the end, and they are really pretty good, I think, for having run all that way, 268 miles. So you've got like a little bit of kind of the general white wetness going on with the soles shriveling up, but then all you've really got is a big blister on your left little toe and a kind of smallish blister on your right little toe, and that's all I can see blister wise. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's, I think they seem to have been a recent thing. I started getting blisters there, but I think it doesn't really bother me, actually. I mean, I just ignore these things anyway. And actually, I think if you run on blisters a lot, then you just get calluses, and eventually they stop bothering you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and we've got a question from Peter Krauhofer. Apparently I said his name right. And he says, Sabrina, which shoes did you use? And did you change shoes? And which socks did you use? Like, what was your kind of foot setup?
I always run in La Sportiva Mutants. I have tried other shoes, lots of shoes actually, and lots in the La Sportiva range actually, but the Mutants suit me best. So it's going to be a combination of what suits your individual feet. But for me, the Mutants are good because they have good cushioning. But remember, I'm small. So maybe if you're tall, heavier, Akira's might be a bit better. And the Cashas are the other ones that have good grip but a bit more padding. But I don't mind them because they're heavier. And for me, being small, actually heavy makes me very slow. It feels like I'm running with lead in my shoes. But the Mutants are perfect. They're very durable. So I've actually managed to run 1,200 kilometers in one set, and
wow.
they still look great. Like the mesh never wears through. But you start to worry about the amount you've compressed everything and lack of padding and stuff. So at some point they do have to go in the bin. But I have to say they always look good. So I'm always sad to put them in the bin. It's like when we saw all those shoes at the end, what's supposed to be the end of the Pennine Way, which is the start for me. I couldn't bear to put a pair of my lovely shoes on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so shoes they're good. They've got good grip. I really like them because for me they're good on all surfaces. So that I can go from fell to road to bog to mud, and they're good. I mean, they always have good grip. They also dry quite well, so I can be completely immersed in bog 1 minute, and then if there's a bit of sun and a bit of wind, actually within an hour they feel dry again. And then the socks, I don't understand why people would ever want to run around with wet feet all the time, especially for 72, 74 hours, that kind of 6 days.
Yeah.
Wet feet for that long is going to give you really big foot issues. So dry feet are important. And I found the Deck-Shell Bamboo Light socks work for me. Sealskins are good, but they're a bit thick, so you're going to need a slightly bigger shoe to fit those in, but they are also good. So not only when you keep your feet dry, but you also stop the little bits of grit getting in. And if you stop the grit getting in, you won't get as many blisters either, because if you get a small rub with a stone or a little bit of mud, that's what's causing foot problems a lot of the time.
Yeah, and it was interesting that your blisters were just because the foot was presumably swelling, and then it was being squished like in the shoe, like you didn't get grit in there, and it wasn't the water.
No water, no grit.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So Deck-Shell waterproof socks is the way forward for long stuff, really long stuff. Oh, cool. So Peter says thanks for answering his question, and we have got a couple more questions as well on the live chat. We've got John Gardner. He wants to know particularly, like, do you do like a particular? You did some strength training. Do you do any specific leg work or core work? Like, what kind of exercises do you do, or like how does it work?
For the last 2-3 years, I've done mainly just running and really done no core and no nothing at all. It's only after now that I've done some for maybe the last 3 days, and I will do it for a few more days so I can pretend I actually do try to sort myself out. But the reality is I really just run. That's the honestly, most of the time I just run and get away with it. But I am getting older, and I am doing loads and loads of long stuff, so it will catch up with me, I'm sure. So I am trying to cycle. I rode my bike today. I did core strength today. I did no running today, so today is good. I'm being a good Sabs today. But tomorrow I will probably not. And let's see if I manage to actually do any more core. I should. I think it's a good thing to do. Yes. And probably a bit of strength work also.
Yeah.
But I would be lucky if I said I do it, because I don't.
Yeah, but presumably your job is a little bit physical in that you're a vet, so you're picking up large animals and putting them on beds and things like. So you're not just sat all day. So you do have a bit of movement going on.
I do a lot of squatting. I squat down, pick a dog up, put it on the table.
Sounds like core work to me. And leg strength.
After an ultra, I find I often go down to pick this animal up and get stuck there, and I have to go and get somebody else to lift the animal up, which is really embarrassing.
Yeah, and then you after the animal. Yeah. Oh, well, it's nice to hear you being really honest about this kind of thing. And Hannah Baisley also thinks it's really good to hear that you don't really have a plan. She says she finds it really stressful whenever she tries to stick to a plan, but she tries to stick to the fundamentals and make it up as she goes along. So I think a plan is for some people and not necessarily for other people, and the most important thing is to enjoy it, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Next question. So sleep. Yeah, I want to talk to you about sleep and food and then recovery and then what's next, and then we're done. So sleep. As I saw it, you only had about 1 hour of sleep, maybe 1.5 hours of sleep during that whole 3 days.
You're going to know better than me what I actually had. It wasn't enough. It really wasn't enough.
Very little sleep.
It wasn't my intention. And I really, really should have stuck to my actual plan, which was in my schedule. I'm not quite sure where I didn't get that 2 hours sleep that I was meant to have, or why. Probably I was behind schedule and just being silly. I'm terrible. I just need someone to enforce rest on me.
Well, you don't want to stop. You said that. Why would you?
But you do need to. And I think it was unfortunate that I had to stay in Greg's hut. But there was no point, and this is where you do have to sort of understand weather and realise that actually if you don't have to fight it, and if it is going to blow over, quickly, you are better off to stop and stay out of it if you can. But unfortunately, it was so early on, I wasn't ready to sleep. So, I mean, I lay there and I wasn't moving, and I managed to eat quite a lot during that time, but I didn't sleep. So that's a bit of a shame. And I think if I hadn't had to do that, then I would have had a proper 2 hours sleep, and you would have probably seen that my run into Edel was much stronger, because I was really suffering through that last night. And yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't ideal. And I need to be, my husband is very insistent that he must do the road support for the Wainwrights, because he will be probably the only person that can make me do anything. So I have to sleep when I'm told. So I will. And that's that. So.
Yeah. Oh, I've just popped a picture of you asleep in our camper van thing. And I
think I just look like a pile of clothes.
You look like a pile of clothes. Yeah. You also just, once you do realise there's a person there, you just look like a dead person, because you're just like this, face down with your head in a pillow, eating the pillow. It's a great picture. I like it a lot. And we've got lots of comments coming in about how honest you are. So John Gardner says, hang on, let me just put it up here. I like Sabrina's honesty, charming. And John says, Sabs is delightful. We need more of what she has. So you've got some good
That's
fans.
Very nice, very sweet, thank you.
Yeah. Did you, with that lack of sleep, did you get any of the strange hallucinations? Because last time, didn't you have, you wanted to peel your eyes off, that kind of thing?
I pretty much got the same thing. I remember 1 minute I was like, someone's turned my head torch off. Why did they do that? And I'm just fumbling around like this, and I'm like, oh man, my eyelids are shut. Like, oh no, not this again. And I'm like this, And I'm like, come on, Sabs. And that's when I said to Sally and Colin, I was like, I have to sleep. And they were like, no, Sabs, the camper van is only 500 meters away. And I said, I know, I'm not going to make it. I have to sleep. And they were like, no, no. I said, you're going to regret this. I said, this is going to take half an hour to do 500 meters because I literally could not keep my, and they didn't get it. They really didn't get it. And I was like, well, that's your problem.
Yeah, you can deal with it.
They had to keep collecting me from, from these positions where I just fall asleep staring. It was the Torside Reservoir, and I was just staring, and I'd be very confused because you don't expect to be walking over this stuff, and kind of like, it's a bridge, it's like tools, and there's like stuff, and I'm just like, need to sleep, and then I'm like, but I can't sleep in this muddy ditch.
Yeah.
So I'd try and move, but it was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, the eyelid thing, very inconvenient.
Yeah. So you thought your head torch was off because your eyes were shut, basically. Yeah.
Someone turned the lights out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually asleep.
But you sound like you find it quite amusing. Like, some people might be a bit scared by that kind of thing going on. Like, what you must have a different mindset, a different attitude to this type of kind of extreme thing.
I've just done it so much. I did 10 years of adventure racing. I've been through it all: the hallucinations, the confusion, the deja vus. Deja vus are bad. I didn't have any of that on Wayne Oaks. I didn't have any of that on the Pennine Way. But I've had the deja vu where I was in Costa Rica doing this world championship adventure race, three guys on my team, and I was insistent, it was the last day, and I was insistent that I'd been here before, they didn't need a map, and I was going to tell them where the water was because I'd used the tap and filled up my bottle, so I know exactly where it is. It's like, just put the map away, follow me, guys, up the hill, off we go. And I was just in la la land, and they were just, it was funny at first, but then I was really annoying because I was so insistent that they didn't know what we were doing. And then every time I was going the right way, it just reassured me that I knew exactly what I was doing. But yeah, they had to put up with that, which was not.
Yeah, well, at least they didn't believe you and follow you and then get disappointed. That would have been even worse.
At least someone on the team is awake.
Yeah.
Good. Focus.
Yeah. Probably should, those kind of things, you should probably be carrying somebody around on a stretcher having a sleep. So there's always one person that's really well rested.
Yeah.
And so food, let's just talk a little bit about the foods, because you did like the hot chips, and we got you some hot chips at Tan Hill and various other places. But what else do you like to eat on these things? Because I'm sure people want tips.
All sorts. You did me my little sandwiches with my special bread and smashed avocado and cheese and tomato. Like, normal food is good. You do need to eat nice stuff. And then I'm just really into cakes, so generally you can throw a cake at me, I'm going to have it. I had scones with cottage cream and jam, yummy. I do like having, if it's possible, I like having the toast. I mean, when is toast not appealing with lashings of butter? That's just that smell, isn't it? Or muffins or whatever it is, just toasted stuff, toasted crumpets. So if you can get bananas, I ate an awful lot of bananas. I mean, I was a bit worried I was going to overdose on potassium at one point because I've only eaten bananas. Higgidy quiches went down well. We carried that on the first leg. Andy had some as well. He was very pleased with how tasty that.
I was a bit worried that would get squashed, that bit.
Yeah, he carried it wonderfully. And I mean, it was just genius when we had Damien carrying a plate. I mean, that was fantastic with all my offerings on. And we did genuinely do this. And to be fair, I didn't eat a single thing off the plate.
Really?
Yeah, I just wanted to see Damien carry his plate down technical descent. I was really waiting for the face plant, which never happened.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was good. So, what else was on the plate? We had cheese scone. That was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of nice food. And then I do find that when I can't get food down, or I need a sudden kick because I've been lax and not eaten enough food and need a sugar hit, then these Mountain Fuel jellies are good because they're not too sweet. They're got a decent amount of water in as well, and you can just sink them quite quickly, and they don't make me feel ill. So those were really good. And then they've got the cola one with caffeine in, so that's also handy at night if you're just having a bit of a moment and you need a bit of caffeine. And then I really like the recovery fuel, which I know I'm not recovering because I'm still moving, but I actually think that it's probably quite good to keep getting the protein in somehow. And the things that you're eating you're probably not digesting that protein. You have to break it down into lots of little bits, and your stomach has to work quite hard. Whereas I think, I crave it actually. The chocolate milkshake are just, oh my god. And then after I finish, then that's all I have. I mean, I just live off that stuff.
Yeah.
Yum.
Oh yeah. Well, we enjoyed making it for you, and you. I don't know. Did you mention the cups of tea? Because you have tea with you have tea with a lot of sugar in on these things, don't you?
I can't really call it tea. That is just my fuel for running. So it's like you show the tea bag, and then in order for me to drink, you have to put a load of milk in because it's not too hot, and then throw 3 sugars in there, because I think if you're having anything and can put sugar in it, that's calories. Any way of getting calories in you while you're going is brilliant. So sugar is excellent. So just throw it in the tea. Brilliant.
Yeah, and I've just got a picture here. We put all your stuff out on a bench, and then this cat came along, and the cat tried to start eating your food. So we had to put the plates just at the back of the shot there, and it's got a plastic bag over it because the cat tried to eat it. But there's actually tea, soup, porridge. There's a beer for the pacers, and there's water as well, which I think we put a lot of that mountain fuel in the water as well.
Yeah. So I like that raw one is good because it has no flavour. So if you were drinking the really sugary type energy drinks, then you'd get your ulcerated tongue and stuff, and you would just think of all the sugar stuff. But the raw one's really good because you actually just can't really taste it. It's in there, and you get your electrolytes and you get some energy, and it's great. So I did have that in every single. I had 1 water, didn't I, and 1 mountain fuel, which is really good. That worked really well.
And then some recovery stuff as well. And guess what, I've just found a picture of Damien with the plate of food there.
My god, you have to send that to me, because that has got to go in the Runner's World. Yes, it does.
Yes, well, he's there carrying the plate, and it's got, I don't know, a scone, a bit of quiche, some nuts, some tomatoes, some, I don't know, cucumber. We were trying to put like a mixture of everything on there just in case what you wanted.
Fell Runner, that's what it was going. I just did
the Fell Runner.
Fell Runner. I've just been writing an article for that, so but I didn't have a picture. I didn't know anyone had a photo of Damien with a plate, so I really want. That would be cool.
No, just let me know if there's any more photos you need, because I got tons. I just stored everybody's on the way, and so I've got everyone's. And lots of people on the live chat are really enjoying the food chat. So Guy says he can vouch for tea with lots of sugar, thanks to Nigel, because Nigel and I supported Guy when he did his first 50k run, and Nigel put lots of sugar in his tea, so he enjoyed that. And then John Gardner's put Stella for the pacers. So you didn't. I didn't see you drink any Stella on the way round. I don't think you did. And then Peter says pizza and beer without alcohol are my favourites during an ultra. So I think everybody's down with the real food malarkey there. And you mentioned recovery. So you like to drink the chocolate milk mountain fuel for recovery. What else do you do? Because I messaged you later in the week and I was like, I am dead. I had probably 1,000,000 times more sleep than you did, and I was absolutely dead. Then that morning I was dead. Then Wednesday I kind of rallied a bit, and then Thursday I had to go back to work, and I was like, I hate my life, I hate everything. I am so tired. That's what happens to me when I get tired. So that's why I don't like doing like through the night stuff, because I just hate myself.
Basically,
what do you do
on the Tuesday about lunchtime, and I went to bed for 3 hours, and then I got up and had dinner and did all the normal stuff, and then I slept that whole night, and then I felt pretty good. So I think as long as I've had a full night's sleep, I then start to feel normal again. It's the other stuff that takes longer, and it annoys me that I can't go running the next day, and that I have to think about carefully logistically when I want to go upstairs, that what do I really need to take with me. And I'm going back downstairs. And then I have a lot of baths. I have recently started putting Epsom salts in there. There's absolutely no scientific backing for this. I just like them. They smell nice. I get scented ones, so I enjoy it. But there's definitely no reason why that would work in any way. But I do like to use them. But baths are definitely good. I think anything that you feel is good that you should do. So I feel good in a bath. I don't like ice, but occasionally if I've got a sore bit, then sticking the ice on it numbs it, so that's good. It's not sore if it's numb, so I do use ice sometimes. Probably not as much as I should, because as I don't like to be cold. And then I try not to take anti-inflammatories for the first few days if I can help it, because I think your body's trying to repair and wants to create some inflammation in order to repair, but at some point it goes overboard and does too much inflammation, and then I will use them then. That's my own personal thoughts on that. And then, but if I can't sleep at night because I'm in too much pain, then cocodamol is very helpful, and that won't interfere with your body's processes. And it's gentle as well. It's not too bad on the stomach. What else do? I try and stretch. I think your body tells you. I always listen to my body, and it tells me, oh, that feels nice if I stretch that, so I do it. And if it doesn't feel nice, then I don't do it. And then after a few days, I do go to a massage therapist, and she's very helpful. And she also does a bit of dry needling. So I go to, if anyone local, Mountain Massage in Windermere. They're really, really good. They've got a number of very good therapists there. And Hazel does my therapy. And so she will often identify where I've stuffed myself up a little bit and fix it, which is great. And then sort of doesn't give me too much, shouldn't be doing anything stuff, which is nice.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Actually, once I was really surprised. I went with some Achilles issues, and I was being a bit like, everyone had told me to stop running, and you're doing this to yourself. And she actually fixed my problem, because it wasn't anything to do with the running. It was I was wearing flat shoes at work. And actually I just put some heels on, and that really just got everything working. And she said you could just go running, so basically stop being pussy. And I did, and it was all fine, and it's all healed really well. So I think sometimes people can be a bit too ready to tell you that, oh, everything's going to cure with rest, and that is not always the case. Sometimes, and I've had some exercises for my Achilles that actually, when I'm doing them, they do actually hurt a little bit, but it's the only way to get the spring back in the tendons, because they are supposed to be doing that, and they are a little bit aggravation upset, but sometimes you do need to put them through that to get them back. So I think it's good to go and consult somebody and get a little bit of help with any niggles. Massages are great for flushing things out, and then drink lots of water, help recover. Water, and the water I'm drinking is coming out as quickly as I drink it because of all the fluid retention. And I think you do need to just keep drinking to make sure you flush all that toxins out, all the stuff that your body's built up with all its metabolic processes, and help your body just detoxify afterwards by lots of fluids. And that's why I'll drink a lot of that mountain recovery fuel, because it's fluids as well as protein. And sometimes you don't feel like eating so much, although I'm pretty happy to eat most of the time. And in copious amounts, but the fluids are really, really important.
Yeah, and it sounds like, just to ask one more question before we ask you what's next and end the chat, but it sounds like you have a pretty high pain threshold, like blisters, recovering, things being agonizing, sleep. Like, would you say you do have a really high pain threshold compared to some people?
It's hard to know, isn't it? It's hard to know. Pain is definitely in the brain. Pain is not a physical thing. Pain is in the mind. So then you have senses, and skin is definitely very sensitive. And I think I'm very lucky that my feet are generally pretty good. And I think that when people get their feet in a mess, that hurts. So don't think that that's a good idea to go around on painful feet. I don't think I could or would. And I think when they're that kind of agony, that that isn't fun. And I think it's really important to avoid getting into that kind of agony, because believe me, I'm not running in agony. I wouldn't. Like the Wainwrights, it was painful to do certain things, so I avoided those things. And yeah, I can run through pain, so maybe I do, but I think it's more that I don't think I'm running in agony. I really don't. I think I'm generally running and happy. I do get a niggle, and then that is painful. As I said, I took painkillers and tried to ignore it. But there comes a point when you are in a lot of pain and actually you do need to stop. So it's very different for everybody, and I think you do sort of need to listen to your body a little bit, because it's often telling you when something hurts you need to avoid doing further damage. The spine would be one, the winter spine. I think, unfortunately, that race you probably aren't going to finish with quite a lot of tendinitis. I found that, and that was very painful, actually. The tendinitis was horrific. But I think when you know, not really wrecking it too much, not like a fracture or something.
Yeah. So you haven't broken anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did mentally block that pain out and not worry too much about that. That's different. And then the thing for me on that was my ankle was swollen, and it was annoying because I couldn't fit it in the shoe without it really hurting. When you've got something swollen and you've got pressure on it, that's, if you can avoid the pressure on it, that helps a lot. So I had to ice that down so that the swelling would get down, so you could put the foot in the shoe. And I mean, that wasn't pleasant. And I would say that probably was quite a painful race for me, and I wouldn't like to repeat that. I don't think that was great. Whereas a lot of the other stuff hasn't been that much. And it took me ages to recover from this winter spine, ages. Well, my kind of ages, which is 6 weeks. I mean, but whereas, the Wainwrights was about 3 weeks, and Pennine Way 2. So,
yeah. So you're saying you're probably not in as much pain as everybody might think you'd be in, because you're basically really, really experienced at doing this now. You know what socks work, what shoes work, you know what works for your body, and you're having a lovely time.
Yeah, don't run in pain, please. Or like agony for ages. Don't think that this is what it's about. It's not. I think ultras are fun. Running should be fun. You shouldn't be doing these races going, this is going to be the hardest, most painful thing I ever do. Well, what's the point in that? It's fun. It's good to enjoy it, and genuinely enjoy it, and enjoy speaking to people around you, and just the whole atmosphere, and getting into checkpoints. And you want it to be challenging, and in order then to avoid these painful things, I do think it's worth taking some measures, learning a few things, doing what works for you, doing the right training, or at least learning how to use your equipment, and what works for you, what to eat, and how to avoid blisters. Blisters are really bad. I mean, foot problems are really bad. You don't want them. I really don't.
Yeah, I hate foot problems. Definitely. And so, what are you going to do next? Like, I know that you're going to have another crack at the Wainwrights, but are you going to do something in between? And tell us more.
No. Well, I have another entry for the winter spine, which is in January, and it will be my 40th birthday on the spine.
Oh, cool.
So, like to do that. I hope it goes ahead. Obviously, we have things going on at the moment that are wrecking everything.
Yeah.
And I've got an entry for the Cheviot Goat race as well, which will be a new one for me, so that'll be kind of fun. And then in between that, I'm trying to be good Sabs. I'm trying to do the rest thing. I will see how that goes. Because really for me, the most important thing that I want to do is the Wainwrights next year. And I'm really excited to do it again. It was fun. And I'd like to do it without injury. It would be really nice to finish it strong. So that will be the challenge. And I've got to focus most of my time now on that.
Yeah. And so that will be May time, presuming you're going to do it similarly?
We need to look at the weather, because May should be good, and it'll be before the bracken comes up. And this year May was great. So we just have to see. Again, it's not something I'm going to attempt in terrible conditions, because it's not, for me, it's supposed to be an enjoyable thing. And I've got people running with me, and I want them to enjoy it as well, and not be put through storms.
Yeah. Oh, well, I will see if I can come and run with you some of it next year. I'm really hoping the COVID restrictions aren't as kind of, I really hope COVID just kind of dies a bit of a death before then. But it would be lovely to come run with you, because, I'll have a baby of some kind, and it will be like 4 or 5 months old by then. So I think like that one there, like Lucy's baby behind. But I'll have one of them. I'll have one of them, and I'll give it to Steve. He can sit in the car with it, and I can run, and then he can come pick me up. That'd be wonderful. So that'd be lovely to get some footage of you actually running on the hill rather than just at a checkpoint going, Ella, do you want some quiche? Yeah. So it's been fantastic to chat to you tonight, Sabs. Thank you so much for sparing all this time for us to talk with you about all your incredible achievements and all of this amazing ultraness that you do. It's been a pleasure to support you in it over the last month it is now, and hope to be able to support you again on the Wainwrights, because that sounds super exciting.
Thanks, Claire.
No problemo. Just want to read you this nice thing from Pete, who says, Sabrina, all the best for the future, with a smiley face. Thanks for the interview. He says he has to go now, so he will see us all next week. So yeah, thanks so much. It's been fab. Adios, everyone. Bye. Thanks, Sabs.